All right, so you decided to I don't want to use. I don't want to make it seem like he walked away or anything like that. But I know.
I damn near made an announcement. That shit
you
was
definitely
weird.
did. I think it was on Twitter too.
Yeah, on Twitter.
Yeah,
like I retired.
Yeah,
that was crazy, but I think it was dramatic.
But you said that you always have an impulse to come back. So I guess what was the deciding factor? Well, I guess you answered that already. Was it a hard decision?
At the time, it wasn't. At the time, it wasn't crazy. Because I was. At the time, it wasn't because I had became real disgruntled with the shit. It became a job. I was getting tired of like.
It was hard during that time.
Yeah,
to figure out a living and.
Yeah, it was rough. Niggas was struggling. The recession, we was in the middle of the recession.
The bubble burst, the .com shit burst,
and we was just tired of like investing, and then just getting your money back maybe.
Right, maybe.
And we was like, all right, man, like I was just growing. I was in the space. My pops had passed 6 months after Heart of the City came out.
Yeah.
And it was like, yo, I didn't even know how I could record an album after that nigga was gone. I was just like in a bad space. So it was like Built to Last. I had 2 more albums planned out. It was gonna be International Rich Squad. And then the last one was gonna be King Me.
Yeah.
And then that was gonna kind of be my last album, but that wasn't gonna be for like another 4 years, 5 years after. But when we got to Built to Last necessarily wasn't even gonna happen. But I was kind of winding down, so I called it Built to Last for that purpose. To kind of like, this is gonna last forever, but I'm out. You know what I'm trying to say? It was kind of like that. So I just didn't. I just wasn't. I wasn't happy with where the industry was going, and I felt like the effort and the things that we used to do as a unit, as a team, it wasn't appreciated no more, right? Because like the fast pace, you know, drop a new mixtape every 2 months at that point, that was happening then.
Yeah.
And I was just kind of like, I ain't here for that shit. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, I'm not going to rush my art. I'm not going to do, you know what I mean? Because like we dropped, it took 3 years between Heart of the City and, Block Testing and Heart of the City, but we dropped Built to Last like 14 months after Heart of the City because we had to get it out quicker because the game was different. And the climate.
We worked on it like not even a few months after the Heart of the City.
Heart of the City, it was already on it. We was up in there having mix sessions and everything at that point. So it was just kind of like, I didn't want to rush it. I wasn't feeling where the game was going, and I was personally going through some shit. Right. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna get out. And then so thinking business, I was like, well, I'm damn near still one of the hottest dudes in the city, one of the hottest dudes in the Bay. I need to figure out what my next move gonna be. And the next move was marketing, a marketing firm, and that was Front Office Media Group. Yeah. It was FOMG was the original. But then what I learned from just helping, I didn't like taking people money. You know what I'm trying to say? Like I was like, because this shit ain't no guarantee to this shit. You gotta really love it. You can't buy your way in like that. So I didn't really feel comfortable with that, dealing with grown men, grown women, and they worked hard for that money. You feel me? So I was like, I'm not finna take your money and I can't guarantee you nothing. So I was like, well, what's the best alternative? And that was to start them younger. I just really wanted to start with younger artists because I started so young and I wanted to be able to, because I knew I was like, okay, I started at 11. And so I had to grow up in this shit. So I took the hits and all of that shit because I was fully involved in it. I loved it. I wasn't working a 9 to 5 and being like, yo, this $500 right here is this can go to my rent. I was a young kid. You know what I mean? So I wanted to start it younger so we can really help youth because at that time everybody was dying. It was war in the city at that point.
Yeah, it was crazy.
And every time we took a youngster on the road, they come back, get killed in jail. Because you already know, we talked about it earlier, we always helped artists. We always was in that process of doing it. You always helped artists. You always molded and sculpted artists. And I was like, I just told Danielle, I told my wife, I was like, let's start a school. And she was like, start a school? What are you talking about? She completely didn't understand. I was like, nah, like, let's start a school. And and Project Level was birthed from that. She took that idea, put like a little curriculum together on how we can do it, because she had prior history with doing nonprofit work. I liked it. Ended up running into London Breed, who is now the mayor of San Francisco. She was the ED of she was the ED of the cultural center that we've been housed at.
Yeah.
She said, "What's up, Rich? Like, we got the studio still up in there. What you want to do?" I was like, "I got something. Let's do it." We met. She loved it, and then we was off to the races.
Wow.
Off to the races, and I didn't look back at all. I was loving it. I was loving the new life. It was great.
So that was 2013, 14.
April 2012.
Oh, okay.
And we met November 2011. So 12 months after my last album, we was already developing Project Level.
Wow. So we working on 10 years.
Yeah, it'll be 10 years next April.
Damn. So a lot happened in those years.
Yeah, a lot happened.
Give us some highlights. Who came up out of that program noteworthy? Just what are some things that you're proud of with the program, and where you gonna take it next?
Yeah, the program has been super successful. We started with like a core of like 12, 13 young kids. One of them was a girl named Veronica, who I still think is a superstar. Shout out to B. She was one of our first. She built Project Level. Like, she was the first one that came in and built it amongst, with Yasi. And Yasi was a day oneer as well. They all like the beginners, day oneers of this. Those was like our early success. We had a kid named Lewi V.
Oh yeah.
That ended up doing pretty good. He was like a young prodigy, 14, 15 years old, making beats on the level of everybody that was hot at that time. We had him with this group called the League of Stars, which was a production team out of LA with Stretch, and he ended up getting placed on all Tiger stuff, Function. Yeah, they was popping. They got some plaques too. Yeah. Louis was the youngest support of that team. He had a few placements on Wiz Khalifa, Juicy J, all they mixtapes that was blazing at that time in 2013 and 14. Problem. He was a producer for him and stuff too. Yeah. Man, and then we went through our transitions. We grew. The idea of Project Level in San Francisco, with it being a rap artist type program, it wasn't received very well outside of London Breed in the city, because entertainment really isn't a big, urban entertainment still isn't a big piece of San Francisco. It's not. It's like it's red flags all across the board.
The bureaucrats don't
see the value.
Yeah, they don't see it as an asset to the culture.
It's a liability all of the way. The Entertainment Commission, they went through countless murders and shootings at all of the nightclubs in hip hop nightclubs, so they for sure don't think that it's beneficial for our city. So we went through that struggle of like going through and trying to convince them that doing music and doing the arts is actually real beneficial for a youth to learn other things outside of just dancing and rapping. It's leadership skills, it's confidence. In a generation where the internet sucked that all away from everybody, we got very introverted young kids that don't know how to express themselves, that don't know how to be confident, they don't know how the suicide rates is through the roof now. And Project Level was kind of like a medication for that, like natural herbal medication, holistic. We take a very holistic approach with Project Level with family, and they like it's their lifestyle. It's more than just like an art program, and that has expanded into so many different things. So just y'all can probably Google all of that, but like our partnerships with Forever 21, our partnerships with YouTube Music. We discovered the kid 24K Goldn, who's multi-platinum artist now, and helped his early start of his career, and he's doing well. He's doing amazing things now. But we have a serious partnership with YouTube Music that I think in a couple years is going to really grow